I'm assuming Andy will allow public comment. So with that being said, it is now 7:01, Andy, and you can go ahead with starting with the first item on the agenda, which is a septic extension request for 31 North Bridge Street. If you want, I will read the letter from the property owner. He is requesting the plan technically expired September 24th, which was this past Friday. He got the letter to me on September 21st. He's asking, please accept my request for an extension on the septic system replacement plans at 31 Northbridge Road. The COVID crisis and this year's rain has made it nearly impossible to source contractors. In addition, my family, some family relatives have health issues which have required much more of his attention than originally planned. And he kindly thanks you for your consideration and appreciation. And this is for Jim Duffy. He actually lives on 9 Forest Park Drive, but he also owns the property at 31 Northbridge Street.
Okay. When was the plan approved?
Hold on, let me pull that real quick. The plan was originally approved September 24th, 2018. Plans are good for 3 years with a 1-year extension. If they don't put the system in between now and September of 2022, they will have to start all over again, resubmit plans, and resubmit the fee. He did pay the $100 fee for the request also.
Sounds good to me. Tom, do you have any comment on this? Tom Fickner?
Hi all, can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Hello.
Okay, hello. No comments. I'm fine with the approving the extension as presented. Valid reasons.
Thank you. Alan Greenberg?
Any idea when the system's going in, and are there people living in the house now?
There is currently people living in the house, but from my understanding, it's not posing a public health hazard. So they Title V, correct me if I'm wrong, Andy, I believe allows you to repair a system. The plans are good for 3 years. I don't know when they're going to get someone to, put the system in. They didn't give me that information.
Hopefully
Okay,
we have a...
as long as
Go ahead.
as long as the homeowner is aware that the extension's only good for a year, I'd hate to see them run into a time crunch on the other end. Other than that, I'm good with it.
I just need a motion.
I will motion to accept the extension as presented by the owner of 31 Northbridge Road on their septic system.
Thank you. Alan, just
Second,
all in favor?
I
Just a quick
Aye,
question. Do we know if the system is going to be repaired and if the house isn't going up for sale, what is the reason for the need? I know, Missy, you said it's not posing a health hazard right now. What is the need that we feel that this system needs to be replaced? Does anybody know?
I do not. I don't have the answer to that.
Is the homeowner on this call?
No.
Okay. Then we have a motion and it passes.
Okay.
you.
The next thing I have for you guys is 33 North Ave is looking for a local upgrade request. It's for a sieve analysis. This does not require a butter notification. If you want, I will quickly read Tom Ryder's approval memo if you want.
Before you do, Tom, do you know what this, what she means by the sieve analysis, what the process is?
No, could you explain that, please? Thank you.
I will. So they went to do a perk test, and because of the excessive rain this year, a lot of groundwater, this process is not available for new constructions. It's available to be used for a repair on an existing system, an existing dwelling, home or whatever. They went to do the perk and they could not. And what they do is they take samples of the dirt that at the area where a leach field would be constructed, and they send it out to the labs and they do a sieve analysis, and they check to make sure that this earth is conducive to perking, being used as a leach field, and they design the system around what they see for groundwater, what the materials prove, and then that's just another process, just another process of how to design a system when the original perk test process doesn't work. I had a conversation with Fred Lapham on my way home, and he designed the plan. Tom approved the plan for the design of a system for this house, and the local upgrade is for the process of the sieve analysis to make this system.
And just out of curiosity, Andy, that sieve, you're spelling that S as in Sam, I as in independent, V as in victory?
SIEVE.
Oh, okay. SIEVE. Okay, thank you.
Are you familiar with what a sieve analysis is?
I am not.
Okay, so usually there's stainless steel high plate size containers, and there are different size screens in these things. They stack them up. I think there's 7 of them. There may be more. And they put the dirt in the top of the screen, and they scrape it back and forth, and the fines fall through, the smaller pebbles fall through, and they measure what percentage of materials fell through. I'm not 100% up on how a sieve analysis works. I just know that that's how they do it. And they disassemble these pie plates, and they look to see what percentage of the materials was caught by size screen A and size screen B, all the way down to the fines at the bottom. And they measure that, and they can determine how well the earth will accept the water to build a leach field there.
Geez, almost sounds like they're panning for gold.
That's exactly what they look like, is the pans that they use.
Okay, thank you.
Typically, it's a mass licensed lab that not just anybody can do it as far as designing the system. When somebody like Kimball Sand or Pine Sand and Gravel sells materials to contractors like myself, some towns require a sieve analysis for the materials that you're importing to build a system. And Kimball will do a sieve on their material they're selling. I believe Wayne is licensed by the state, and they give a copy of the sieve analysis report that the contractor submits with his paperwork to the Board of Health in the town. Hopkinton being one of the towns that requires that. It's not required by every town.
Do you find in your experience out there that you're finding that the sieve analysis is a common element that is requested by a percentage of towns, or is it kind of a rare occasion, or what?
It's been around for many, many, many years, longer than when I've been in business, but only a few towns actually go above and beyond and ask for this sieve analysis.
Okay, thank you.
For the most part, the towns accept the fact that if this sand and gravel company is selling material, then it's quality material, and it's been checked to be proved that, yes, it is good to build these systems on.
Andy, I just want to try and move this along. You only have 20 minutes before you go into executive session, and you have about 6 people on the call tonight.
Okay, next.
Sorry. So
That's right.
if you want me to read the memo, I can. But if your explanation is fine with Alan and Tom, then I would just need a motion.
Tom, you okay with it?
I am actually, I have Tom Ryder's memo up and I've read it, so I'm fine with it.
Okay, Alan?
I'm good. I'm aware of what a sieve analysis is, but I did like your explanation. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Missy.
So motion,
Motion.
second?
Motion to second.
Okay. Thank you.
Talk about
Alrighty, so
moving things along.
yeah, so the next thing was I just put on you have an update from 106 Millville Street as far as the site visit that was done last Thursday. I do not have anything in writing from Tom Ryder, the Board of Health engineer, so I don't know if Alan, if you would like to speak about it, but you do have three residents from the area, Kathleen, Dana, and Sylvan, all in attendance. So I don't know if Alan, if you want to
Okay.
talk about what you saw. Sorry, Andy.
Yeah, I'll just briefly go through it. I met with Mr. Cormier and Mrs. Alexander and Tom Ryder at the site. We were actually on the Alexander's property, viewing 106 Millville Road. I took note of the proximity of the Alexander's well to what was going on. Mrs. Alexander and Mr. Cormier showed me where a pit was dug to catch some of the runoff water and where a pipe was crushed and hasn't been replaced. The pit at one point, I was told, was a considerable depth. It's almost completely filled in at this point. As far as debris, construction debris, or signs of anything being buried in this mound of fill, I did see some green broken plastic sewer pipe, just a small amount. I did see a plastic band that would be used to band lumber or any type of bulk material. Other than that, really didn't see anything that would indicate construction debris being dumped. Mrs. Alexander did show me where a couple of black construction bags were buried. She showed me the approximate area. And Tom Ryder was obviously going to generate a report. I did advise them to contact conservation again and ask for a more recent site visit so that they could handle what comes under their jurisdiction. That's about it. AJ, you want to take it from there?
Yes, it's my understanding that conservation has put a cease and desist on that project. Is that correct, Missy?
I don't know if it's actually been discussed at their meeting yet, but Gail told me that it was discussed in the planning board meeting and that Damon had said that Concom had issued a cease and desist.
Very good. Do any of the residents have any comments?
I would probably call on them because they don't have their names up. I mean, their hand up.
I think Kathleen had hers up. Kathleen, are you on audio?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I did notify conservation and request that they come out to do a site visit, but I have not heard back from them yet. And I did that after our meeting with Alan.
Okay. Anybody else?
Yes, I'll happily speak. This is Dana. Yurek. I'm Sylvain Cormier's wife. And I want to thank the board for allowing us to address you. And I believe for taking the matter that we have seriously. It's really worrying to us. I mean, very, very worrying. And so I guess the question that we have is, we aren't experts in navigating the workings of the town of Mendon and the different boards. And so as much as can be possible, to have an understanding of what the right pathway is and who the right people are, and the responsible parties, in order to resolve this very, very worrying situation. So is this the right board for us? Is it possible to help us with what we should be doing and to whom we should be speaking?
It's my understanding that so far we've seen nothing that directly is directly handleable by the Board of Health. Conservation and Planning Board have been working on a zoning board. If in fact it does impact your well, then absolutely the Board of Health is the correct place. Have you had any well tests done?
Kathleen, your well is closest. Do you want to speak to that?
Yes, I have scheduled a well test, and that will be done on October 4th, both a raw test as well as an in-house test.
Okay. That's a great start, but so that you understand, I can't think of the word. We need a baseline to prove that your well is in fact healthy and good. And if it was impacted by this, at this point, it's hard to prove that in fact they did do it. So a well should always be tested every couple of years anyways, especially if you have neighbors close proximity to your well. That way there, if there's ever an incident. Go ahead, Missy.
I believe Mrs. Alexander had her well tested this spring.
That's
So-
correct.
Wonderful.
That's
So-
correct.
Excellent.
So I'm not sure if we would need a copy of that and then a copy of the testing that is done now, just so we would have something on record.
It wouldn't hurt if we had a copy of it.
I can provide that. One of my concerns is that, and I understand each board has their own purview, but I feel like everyone is working in their own silo, and we have multiple issues regarding 106 Millville Street, and we're not really sure where to go with this. We do have a site visit scheduled tomorrow at 3:00 with one of the selectmen, but it's difficult to navigate each board to have a conclusive resolve to the issues that we have.
Andy, if I could
Go ahead, Missy.
just say something. I totally agree with Mrs. Alexander. I would make the recommendation that either that either the Board of Health or maybe when they meet with the Select Board to possibly have joint committee meetings. I know we've had 106 on our agenda. I don't know if Conservation, when they're meeting again, to have their meeting to discuss it for the residents to come in, but that would just be my recommendation. And I have Tom has his hand up, Tom Fickner.
Go ahead, Tom.
Did you want me to speak, Andy?
Yes.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I was wholeheartedly in agreement with what Missy had just presented. I was going to make the same recommendation that given the multiple aspects of the issue on this property, and given that there, are multiple boards involved, And I can understand from the residents' perspective, the frustration that that can bring. I would highly recommend a multi-board meeting take place with regard to this property discussion so that everybody comes together at the table or at the screen, so to speak, at the same time to address all the aspects regarding the property so that everybody can hear everything at the same time in the same manner.
Is it
back to you.
possible? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that's basically what I wanted to just put out there, and Missy had the had the right way to go, and I think that's I support that highly.
Okay. We had also been advised potentially to be added to the selectmen's meeting, but my question would be, what's the earliest time we could convene a multi-board? Because each month, well, each day that goes by, it becomes increasingly grave, honestly.
Well, so now I'll want me to continue to speak, Andy, I would just say from my perspective, I think this is where some pretty good, strong communications need to come from the boards to one another so that we can, kind of best aggressively address this as quickly as possible. I know we were on different timetables with regard to meeting nights and so forth for the different groups, and that does create or can create some issues in and of itself. But I like to think that everybody that is working on the different boards would be on the same page to help out the residents involved and address their concerns. So I'd like to think that we could try to do that as expeditiously as possible, making it a priority.
That's really wonderful. I did have a question. Should we be calling the Central Mass DEP? I don't know if anyone on this, oh, I apologize. One member of this call has come to the property, but there's a pond and a stream and all sorts of stuff right there, and it's full of silt. I can tell you that. And is this something the DEP should be in on? And is it up to us to make that call?
Andy, again, I don't think it's a bad idea, especially if there's any part, because it almost sounds like it's a conservation issue.
Okay.
And maybe contacting, I don't know the contacts for DEP for a conservation issue. If it was a septic issue, yes, I could give you the names and phone numbers and all that other good stuff. But I can try and look and see if I can find anything, and I can email it to Kathleen if I find anything from Mass DEP with conservation. But
Cool.
I don't think it would hurt, Andy.
No, I agree with you, Missy. That would be good.
Okay, because I know, Kathleen, you've been working with the local conservation committee for like 2 months, right? 2.5 months?
Yes, I have been speaking with them on separate occasions. I did put a call in to Damon, and I have not received a call back yet. That was a couple of weeks ago. Well, maybe a week ago, but
Okay.
I can bump that up.
Okay. That would be good if we could get the conservation to go. I thought Damon did walk that property already. I thought somebody said that.
Yes, Damon did walk the property, but he has not walked it since to my knowledge, since the closure of 106 Millville Street. So he did not see the full impact of the fill, the erosion, and the silt fill of the pond or the pit that was dug. But I can't speak for him as far as I know. And I know that he has not come on to my property yet.
Okay.
Andy, I just need to remind you that in 5 minutes, you're supposed to go into executive session. So you have to start wrapping this up. I have a motion that you guys have to make, and then are you going to adjourn for the night, or are you going to come back to this meeting?
We have no idea how long this is going to take with the executive session, so I would say anything, I really don't think that we're going to be able to come back.
Okay, so I'm
with
just,
all that we have to talk about.
so I think you guys should just start wrapping it up. Maybe quickly you can schedule your next meeting. You would meet again, October 13th is if you go to your other week, unless you guys feel that you need to meet next week for 106 Millville Street only.
We can do that so that not too much time passes. That would be a good thing. I have a question for Alan Greenberg. It's between you and me that we changed the start time. How's your schedule looking nowadays?
I'm still working till dark, so 7 is ideal, but
Okay.
I sense the urgency in this particular situation, and if 6 is better, I will cut my day short.
I barely made it here by 2 minutes to get on this call myself, so I just wanted to have the conversation. We will keep it at 7 o'clock next Wednesday.
Okay, so what I'm also
Okay.
going to do, Andy, is I will reach out to Conservation, the Select Board, if you want, Planning Board, inviting them to attend the meeting next week. So at least it's starting something, but I don't know how you feel about that.
That would be good.
I would appreciate that, Missy. We do have a meeting with Lonnie from the Select Board tomorrow at 3 p.m. So perhaps we'll have more information at that point.
I think the more information you guys have, the better, and hopefully maybe I'll have something in writing from our Board of Health engineer, Tom Ryder. So.
Just out of not to interrupt, sorry, just out of curiosity, that meeting that is happening tomorrow at 3, what is the nature of that meeting? Like what's the venue? How is that meeting coming about, out of curiosity?
Lonnie is coming to our property to meet with myself and Sylvain Cormier to view the impact of 106 Millville Street.
Well, I'm just wondering if maybe, and I'd offer myself as well, to try to keep consistent with representation from multiple venues. If there's anyone from this group that can participate in that meeting, if you gentlemen are tied up, Andy or AJ, I would be glad to offer my services to be there as well. Just to keep the
Absolutely.
consistency going.
Anyone is welcome to come onto the property and view the situation.
And this is 14 level?
14 Level Street. It impacts 14 and 16.
Okay, and it's at 3 o'clock tomorrow.
That's correct.
Okay, you count me in.
Thank you.
Sure thing.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, so Andy, I've typed up the motion that the board will now go into executive session. Mass General Law, Section 30A, Section 21, to discuss the reputation, character, physical condition, or mental health rather than professional competence of an individual, or discuss the discipline or dismissal or complaint or charges against a public officer, employee, staff member, or individual. The Board of Health will only reconvene after executive session only to adjourn the meeting. I need someone to make that motion, someone to second it, and we need to do a roll call.
I will make the motion.
Tom,
I'll second it.
Alan, and then I need a roll call, which is basically you saying your name and saying aye to go into executive.
Andy Fisk, aye.
Alan Greenberg, aye.
Tom Fickner, aye.
Alrighty, that concludes this meeting, and I will see you on the other one in a few moments. Thank you.
Thank you all very much.